Hello, Fearless Gamers, and welcome to another podcast here on Fearless Games. I'm Matt the Vet, and today I'm joined by...
James the Wildcard.
And the Stark Lord.
Are you sure about that?
About what? That's James the Wildcard's here? Yeah, I'm pretty sure about that.
No, that you're here. Because you're like, and the Stark Lord?
I'm sorry, I'm trying to type. I'm writing emails for work while I'm doing this, I'm sorry.
You can't write emails.
I really can't, and it's worse when I'm trying to talk to you. Now there's like things like Stark Lord in the middle of this. It's like terrible.
Good.
I have to go modify.
They need to know.
No, they don't.
They'll be like, what's Stark Lord? And then they'll Google Stark Lord, and then they'll find Fearless Games, and we'll get more people, and maybe, unlike you, who likes to invest in other games, they'll give us money.
Yeah, well, the only problem with that is the whole reason I don't use my real name is because I could get fired for doing anything in the public domain.
He will quote-unquote get fired,
yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen. I've got a confession to make. He doesn't have an actual job.
I don't.
They can't fire the Stark Lord. The Stark Lord doesn't exist.
It's true.
Yeah.
That's why I use the fake name and the stupid mask, because I can always plausibly deny that I do anything on the internet.
I mean,
even though my voice is exactly the same and all that.
That could be an impersonator.
It could be. I could have a twin, right?
Yeah.
An evil twin?
The Stark Lord sent you this email, okay? He hacked my account and sent the email.
Totally inappropriate of him.
So, there's some interesting things that we're going to talk about.
A bit.
And one of them, we will save until after the Stark Lord leaves, because I don't think he's got as much of an opinion on it. We'll find out. But let's jump into the
I'm
most
not going to waste
thing.
too much time on Cypher anyway. He was so last year.
Oh. Snap, he got you, son.
He did.
Were we going to talk about Cypher? You're right, my opinion is like, he's a cool model with cool rules, let's go on.
I like that picture that you posted, James.
Yes.
Yes, I approve.
Wait, hold on.
It's a true story, that picture. But
let's see. But first is the Tyranids are here.
Yes,
kind
and
of,
I
sorta.
have to say, bravo, GW. I want to say bravo because organic models are hard to do in good detail and plastic.
Yeah. Though this is just a tiny nitpick, not because I play the models or anything like this, because it kind of screws over what I was planning to do with the Homogrons, so you don't get as many biomorphs in the box set anymore. But I am glad that they didn't reduce the number.
Yeah, no, the Homogon thing, the numbers are good. I like that they put the Hive Guard and the Tyrant Guard together in one thing. That's pretty cool.
I'm just
the new
like
guy.
That thing with the ball thing?
Yeah, that throws up everything on his inside, apparently. At least that's what it looks like.
Yeah, it does look like he's just spewing out his intestines.
Sometimes that's what you gotta do.
Yeah, it's like a starfish.
Oh, you're thinking of a sea slug. Not sea slug, sea cucumber.
Now, starfish also do the whole stomach outside to eat thing.
Yeah.
Kind of, but that's... yeah, no, you're right. When you're right, you're right.
We do have a confirmation from the White Dwarf's battle reports that if a Tyranid has the same gains an additional attack when wielding 2 pairs of weapons.
That's good.
So if he's got 2 Siphon Talons, he gets 1 attack for 2 close combat weapons, but if he has another set of Siphon Talons, he gets another attack, because he's got 2 pairs of them.
I also like the Harpy/Hive Chrome model. It's about time that they got a bigger flyer model.
It's a cool flyer.
It's cool.
I still like the Forge Ruled one, but this one's pretty ballin'.
Yeah, it's cool. I also like that while more expensive, the card effects are now in a brood. Because let's face it, who's gonna play just one card effect?
Yeah,
they're like potato chips. You can't have just one.
Yeah, and
my question is, since I have not looked at anything for it, can you make like a hyper elite army? Because I really like Tyranids, but I don't really like having more than 30 models on the field. I don't like having more than 10 models on the field.
It's probably going to have the same classic feel that Tyrannosaurus had. You can go Godzilla or you can go Horde. And
I do know that
like 15 models of everything has multi-wounds and oh my god, I can't stop it.
Yeah,
chances are you're gonna have to do a lot of blah. I'm losing my words right now. A lot of biomorphing to reduce the number of models, but it's going to be a lot because they're like 1 or 2 point biomorphs.
Well, the thing is also, Tyranids has always had that classic endless swarm of Tyranids approach, or this flip side of monstrous creatures everywhere. And as long as they're able to do something where they unlock something like a troop or something like that, or because I don't know what they're going to do with Tyranid warriors in this one, but it'll be interesting. The one thing I would like to see again, because I don't think the previous codex really do it that well, is a pure Gene Stealer army.
Gene Stealer armies pretty much died. Yeah,
but they were so decent, and it's not even just like pure. I just want to see a Gene Stealer HQ again that's decent.
Yeah, and, good luck with that.
And then, especially considering that Gene Stealers are pretty effective, and it's a specialist army. I mean, you can kind of do it now, but you won't have them as an HQ really. And you back them up, and it's not a Gene Stealer army isn't just Gene Stealers and then there you go because you'll lose against everything. But it's basically anything that's not a monstrous creature, which you have very few of, is a Gene Stealer. Also, I want to see more Tyranid forces out there. I do. I think they're cool, and they are unique in the 40k factions that everything's got to look organic and natural, and that's hard to pull off. Number one, and number two, it's hard to pull off in a multi-part plastic kit. And they're doing a good job. They're staying very much the Tyranid look. You know, sometimes there's always a fear because Tyranids back in the day, they look kind of silly. They got a look that looks good, and they stayed with it. You know, these new models, they're not like, this isn't Tyranid. It's still clearly Tyranid. So, good job. I probably won't play any of them, but...
Yeah, well, like I said, the one thing that the only thing I'm sad about is because I was planning on using NIDs for, NID ships in BFG, and I was banking on them having a lot of biomorphs in the box set to remove heads and such and make it look more like ships, and they've seemed to have reduced the number of biomorphs in their packaging, primarily, I guess, because the Grons can't get as many, so I'm just like, oh, now I can't do I wanted to use Homogron faces because I like the shapes of the bodies, and the Homogrons don't come with any biomorphs.
Yeah.
At least from what I read on GW's site, so I'm like, oh, now my plans are ruined. I guess I have to buy, a warrior kit to get what I need.
Yeah, but as far as making a standard 40k force,
yeah,
I think they go on pretty well.
I'm just saying, I have no complaints about what they're doing for the game-wise. I'm just upset because my BFG conversion plans have kind of been bumped.
Now, what they need to do, and, I don't see it, they need, unless there's a big thing, I have to do a quick check, but they should do a bigger thing for Tyranids in terms of wings. Because there is no way to get wings separate for Tyranids. And there are a decent amount of things that can have some, wing potential on them. The nice thing is that the Hive Tyrant has wings in its kit, which is fantastic. But, I don't know if Tyranid warriors can be winged anymore. We'll have to see what the Codex does.
I think they still can be. Or that could just be going. They should.
I remember they used to be at one point. I don't know if they still can. If they still can, I don't think they have the kit supports it.
I think the only thing that right now the only way to get them is through Forge World.
Yeah, so I mean, if they went, hey, check out, especially because now they have the Harpy, because they have the Gargoyles, if I'm not mistaken, they've had them.
Yep.
So if they do Tyranid, they just go, hey, since we got Gargoyles and we got this Harpy, here's a wing bit kit for you Tyranids. That would be awesome. Just in general, because Tyranids look meaner when they have wings on them.
Yeah. Yeah, they do look pretty nasty.
Yeah, and you know what? They should just give them more wings in general. That'd be great.
Although I will say, if I ever went Tyranid to play an army ever, I would either want to do something very biomechanical looking, like, hey, it's like a hive mind of like mechanical cockroaches, or I would have to straight up make them Zerg. Because the Raveners are basically Hydralisks, let's be serious.
No, I think the Hydralisk came out before the Ravener.
Yeah, so, I mean, the Raveners are basically Hydralisks.
Yeah, pretty much.
I know the NIDs came first, but I know that some NID models were based off of the StarCraft game that was...
They imitate each other, it's fun.
Yeah.
And, like, the Gargoyle Brood can very much be some mutalists. Like, I have the Zoanthropes, I would make Overlords. I mean, that's what I would do if I played Tyranids. If somebody has done that, Fearless Gamers, if you know of an army that's already has that, you have pictures and you can post them somewhere, you put a link somewhere for me to click on. Because that's just cool. Come on, Obregon says Zergling. You could do a Zergling rush.
Literally. So, have you guys heard the rumored 7th edition?
No, don't. No.
You know, I heard hey, maybe.
Basically, from what I've been hearing from the rumor mills that I've been looking up, there's rumored of a 7th edition coming out this year, but it's not technically a 7th edition. What it is it's basically all the supplements, all the FAQs rolled into a new book, so anyone who's just starting doesn't need to buy 60 books in order to get the game going and have all the rules for it. So, like, Escalation will be attached into it, Stonewall Assault or whatever, Stronghold Assault is going to be in it, all the new data slates that they just added, the FAQs that they've recently done would all be porting into it.
See, that would be a good approach to do. Keep it clean in that regard, because even if you want ebook status, that's like, oh, I want to look up my 13 ebooks, what I got to do here.
Yeah.
You know?
And the ebookers get the benefit. Like, from what I've seen, it seems like they're doing this way in a way to try to promote ebooking, because the ebookers will automatically get these updates to their books. But what I like about it is basically Games Workshop is going, look guys, if you bought 6th edition, 6th edition is still valid. Here's an FAQ on the site. If you want the new book, go ahead, but you don't have to buy it.
Right. I mean, you never... To play, you never had to worry about an FAQ book, and the fact that they're doing that, though, is nice. The only concern with an FAQ book is FAQs are updated.
That's the thing is that's what they're doing. But that's like but that's what I like about it is that, you know, they're rigging it where it's like, okay, the guys that have been here will be like, oh, cool, it just has Escalation in it. Well, I already own Escalation, so I don't need to buy it. Or, oh, I'll just buy Escalation. But the new guy's gonna come in and go, oh, I just have to buy one book. Not, wait a minute, I have to buy the rule book, then this book, then that book, then this book, and then I can play? What the heck? So I think it's a smart approach.
To be fair, all the new person has to buy is a Codex and the memory book to play a game. Everything else is adding more flavor to it. But it's like in D&D, they have the Player's Handbook 1 and Player's Handbook 2. You know, it's just here you go, here's more stuff to let you play. You know, Codex aside, because the Codex is always going to be a separate book thing you don't have to buy. You know, you have, main rule book and Codex. Oh, you're interested in Escalation? Oh, you want to check out you play Space Marines, you're interested in Escalation, and you want to check out the Iron Hand supplement? Buy this book. It just becomes a good thing to have. That is pretty cool. If it's true or not will remain to be seen, but it's pretty cool.
The biggest rumor of it is that there'll be slight tweaks, but it's going to be one of those things where it's like an FAQ, where it's like, oh no, this could happen now.
Right.
Rumor has it, I don't know if this is just people, because I believe I heard, because this was a rumor when 6th edition was coming out, but pistols will be used in close combat, which I doubt is happening. But that's one thing that they're rumored to have.
I've always felt that pistols should be allowed in close combat.
Yeah.
The fact that it should be universal across the board, or regardless of special character, which we'll talk about later, it should be a universal thing you can or can't. And then special units and stuff can amplify that. Like, you can't pick and choose for such, because the whole assaulting and pistol/range weaponry in close combat is a main core rule that really should be standardized. But the fact remains that I got a gun. You're real close. I shoot you with it. You know, it just makes sense.
Yeah, well, the argument has always been that that's where you get the 2 attacks from, the second attacks from the pistol.
Yeah,
you get the extra attack.
You just don't get the profile of the pistol, which, to be honest, most close combat weapons.
You have a las pistol and a melta pistol / or a plasma pistol, or inferno pistol, I should say, and a plasma pistol. Give me the same +1 attack. It's like that las gun and that plasma pistol are leagues apart in capability, but you're only getting that +1. I understand it's ease, but it would be nice to see things like that again. Not again, but things like that in general.
Yeah,
because
it's a good idea.
Because then maybe people will be more tempted to take plasma pistols again.
Yeah, but the problem, the one minor issue with it, that I don't want to call an issue because I want them to do it also because it helps out armies like my sisters. But once you allow pistols to be used in close combat, you change kind of balance because then people are like, well, why am I going to take a power weapon when I can just shoot you? Because this is a better, cheaper option to buy this one weapon that does a good job. You know what I mean?
What you do is you give it the profile of the weapon. So as a pistol, it can shoot once, you get one shot. So you take one of your attacks. Instead of getting a +1 attack, you get one shot. So the rest of your attacks is still, oh no. And, so like, it's that one shot at such a high strength, low AP, versus all of your attacks at a low AP.
Okay, that makes sense.
So it balances itself.
Someone took a picture of at the right time.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, the one thing that would be the balance is the fact that, one pistol may be better than another, but that's the thing, one pistol would be better than the other, and, a plasma pistol's not going to replace a power fist, which is instant death in most cases.
The question at that point, though, is do you roll your ballistic skill for it, or do you roll a weapon skill for it?
On that front, I'd say it would be weapon skill, because it's a lot because I would think of it like Graviton clerics. They're kind of like close combating with their pistols, and they're just having to push the trigger at the right time. So I would say that would be more of a, I would say it would be more a weapon skill thing. Because,
it's debatable. It is definitely a debatable thing. I feel both ways have their merits and flaws, and it's just what would be the most balanced.
I think, there's the thing is that I think it would balance out the all-shooter characters, because they're like, yeah, they can shoot you from 100 yards away, but they haven't been trained to use their gun as a sword, type of thing.
Right, but I think there's merits to both sides of it, because, you don't have to be trained to use your gun as a sword. You just got to be trained to pull the trigger at the right time. And it's just a matter of sticking. It's just a matter of in a swirling melee. If I could talk, but if we're on a melee, and then I just push my gun up to your chest to pull the trigger, how hard is that?
But then the question is how good are you in combat to get your gun to their chest to shoot them?
Well, it really that becomes a question of duels. But I think in squad, but you're not going to make it a duel rule versus a squad on squad rule, because in a squad swirling mess with a melee, it's pretty simple. In a duel, it makes it harder. When you got 15, if you got a swarm of orc boys that you're in close combat with, you pull the trigger, you're going to hit one. I mean, that's not the question. I don't think they should make it that complicated of a rule. I think they just got to figure things out.
Personally, I think it would just be easier if they just made it all weapon skill. That way there's no question of, wait, I'm shooting, so it's my ballistic skill versus your what,
Yeah, I mean, technically just make it easier, it should be that, and then you have some cool, awesome dude that's a really good shooter, gets a special role, uses his ballistic skill.
Ballistic skill, yeah. That could work.
I mean, again, both sides, because it's very simple. I use it's just like doing wound against your leadership versus your toughness for that mural weapon. It's the same concept.
Exactly.
Ballistic skill against the weapon skill. But either way, there's merits for both. Far be it from me to be a rules creator for Games Workshop, because they're not paying me, so I'm not going to think that hard on it. But
you heard it here first. The wild card is saying he can do it, but you got to pay him.
Yeah. Like the Joker said, if you're good at something, don't do it for free. But
you mean Heath Ledger?
No, the Joker.
Heath Ledger.
No, Heath Ledger.
You don't remember that whole argument?
I get the argument, but it's Joker. But
what argument? I don't. You know what? Do I want
the whole thing about saying where you could have called the Joker in The Dark Knight anything else and it wouldn't have changed them?
Yeah, but if I just said Heath Ledger, people go, "What?" So it's a Joker character that he portrays. But
so with that, I want to ask you, fearless gamers, what do you think it should be? If you think they let pistols into the game, what do you think it should be? Ballistic skill or weapon skill? Leave a comment. Let us know.
And also, just as a flip note, it would make that, if they did that, and they did it, I'm not saying they do it for all ranged weaponry, but if they considered that, it would make the opening for the original Dawn of War make more sense when the Marines using the heavy bolter to kill things in close combat. The Marine was using a heavy bolter, and then an Orc used a flamer on them, and they're all in close combat, so it's kind of like, that is not what's going on here. But if they got ranged weapons in close combat, it's like, Yes, that intro is now 100% accurate.
Well, if you ask me, I think only pistols should be allowed to do it, because it would be a little weirder, then it would get really confusing, I think, if it went into, like, last cannons in close combat.
Oh, no, the last cannons in close combat, anything heavy shouldn't do it regardless, but I think just keeping it pistols makes it easier. Yeah. But it's just like, now you're one step closer to that intro making sense.
Also, just so you are aware, have you been aware of the new prankster going around on the 4chan stuff with 40k hoaxes?
Yeah, I mean, it's just like what they used to, it's just now the hoaxing that's been coming from cars and other media is now going to 40k stuff.
For people who aren't aware, there's apparently a gentleman who's going around posting photos that claim to be legit things happening, like he did a Steel Legion box set and a Apocalypse Warzone, which would actually be pretty cool if they did, but probably will never happen, a Battle for Ieyaden, or Yenden, however you wish to pronounce it, data sheet. And these have been proven to be hoaxes, primarily because if you look at, like, the Steel Legion, their bases are different sizes, and they're just the GW pictures but flipped. And the Ieyaden one, there's a lot of image issues with it.
See,
in terms of the text is different, the offset. Sir? Hello?
This is probably just a hoax. Yes.
Yeah, we got.
Hello.
Hello.
Everybody good?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So you were saying?
Alright. This is probably just a hoax, but the thing that makes it interesting is being in the cars, the supposed leaks of new models coming out that, you know, shouldn't have been seen before their debut at auto shows and whatnot. While this may be clearly a hoax due to the fact that it's not 100% polished looking, I'm not going to credit any one company in the gaming industry to having this type of mindset going on as of yet. It could also be GW could easily take this and flip it and go, you know what, let's look at public reaction. To, you know, if there's a really strong reaction to a, let's say, the Aiden or Ieyaden Apocalypse little book, people go, man, that would be awesome. Maybe GW can go, you know what? Let's do that. And because a lot of these leaks and other things, be it cars or games, whatever it is, a lot of it's done in-house to gauge reaction. So while this is a hoax, I'd be curious to see if GW doesn't pick up on it.
You think that it may be something where GW may be using it to see if it would be worth doing?
Well, I think at this point, due to the fact that the quality, while decent, isn't, you know, at the visual level to be something that a company would do unless they're getting really slick and clever about it, I think GW can use this as a learning example to see what people think about these things, and then maybe GW and other companies in the future could just maybe leak things to do a test, because what better way than having to test the popularity aside from releasing a product that may fail. So
it is an interesting idea. We'll have to wait and see how it plays out.
Yeah, because, like, for example, in the auto industry, when they have the big auto shows, before, like, there's a lot of vehicles and a lot of concepts that are going to make their debut get quote-unquote leaked, and a lot of that is to gauge public reaction. Sometimes what they'll do is they'll make last-minute changes to a pre-production prototype model, or they'll take reaction and then move on, and you'll see 6 months down the line, oh, we did some changes to this, now look at it. I'm not saying that any gaming company, I don't want to say has the brains to do that, because I'm not trying to sound mean, but I don't know if there's such a need for that in the gaming community at the moment, but it could be pretty clever. I mean, think about it. Aside from people going, this is a hoax, I wonder how many people have said this Yen thing would be pretty cool, or the Steel Legion box would be nice to have, you know?
It is true.
So, I don't know. That's the thought process there, but that's just me being overly complicated in my thoughts.
And we do have before we go on, some recent Imperial Guard rumors are jumping back out at us again. And for the most part, not a lot has changed. Basically, rumors that are saying is new plastic tank based heavily on the Heresy era Malachor. Large kit outsizes the Land Raider, smaller than a Beyblade, multiple variants. an updated Basilisk. Basically, they're describing this Basilisk as the one that you can find on the Space Marine Legion Basilisk for Horus Heresy, is basically what they're claiming it is. New Classic Stormtrooper Veteran Squad, back again with tons of bits to individualize them, and the newest one that I haven't seen before is a new Dogfighter Flyer arrives. That is not an existing known model, so not a Lightning or a Thunderbolt.
That'll be interesting. The one that I'm most always excited for and always let down when it never happens is a multi-part plastic new Stormtrooper model. The Kasrkins from the Cadians and the old Inquisitorial style Stormtrooper models are so outdated and so blah. Like, there's nothing fun about them. I mean, the Imperial Guard Cadians, they're still pewter. They're still pewter models. So
and the sad thing is most people who have veteran squads just take a regular guard infantryman and just convert them.
Yeah, I mean, the Stormtrooper / Kasrkins, because that's like the Cadian thing, is such a cool concept because of what they are. They're the elite of the Imperial Guard. They don't wear cardboard armors. There's Lexan.
They also have guns that can kill things.
Kind of. But now that I prefer the old Hellgun guns. I prefer the old Hellgun over their new weapons, but
the Hellgun is basically the same thing. It's an AP2 last gun.
No, AP3.
AP3. But still, it's basically the same thing.
With an 18-inch rapid-fire range. I actually really like the new one.
No, like the old Hellgun. The old Hellgun was the last gun with an 18 gun.
Yeah.
With the what? Sorry? Hello?
What happened again?
You said it's the old Hellfire gun was a what?
The old Hellfire was basically a las gun, but it had an AP value instead of no AP score. And
the new one's much better.
I prefer the old one because the old one had the range.
Right, the old one had a range, and you had the targeter with it usually that lets you pre-measure, but that's not an issue now.
Well, you can
the new ones I like because, I like the new one because it's just straight up strength 3, AP3, so like no good strength, but if you get a good shot, you're killing the Space Marine.
You're killing dudes.
But
I also get real close.
I know, but I like that about it. Stormtroopers need to get in real close. They're supposed to be close combat guys. Well, not close combat, but close in urban warfare. Like, I think it's a good style for the weapon. Is it a great weapon? Not really, but I think it's fun. I mean, 18-inch range.
I think the Hellgun should go. I think the Hellgun should go back to what it was, but then give them the ability to take like 4 plasma guns or 4 melta guns. You know what I mean?
But then they'd be veterans.
So much.
Yeah, but then they'd be better.
True.
They'd be better veterans. I mean, let's think about it this way. I'd rather
they
take
just have to really up their ballistic skill.
Yeah,
also be
but,
nice.
I mean, think about it. You look at the Stormtrooper squad and look at the Veteran squad. The Veteran squad's a better buy because 4 special weapons. I mean,
the Veteran squad, you can take 3 special weapons and a heavy weapon or something like that. All sorts of special abilities. The Veteran squad's ridiculous. The Stormtroopers,
there's no reason to take Stormtroopers anymore.
And your veterans always end up killing themselves when you try to use them against me.
Well, that's because I take demo charges and lots of plasma guns, which is a bad build.
For anyone who doesn't realize, whenever he throws a demo charge, he always lands on himself.
No, just against you. There was that time when I shot at your Dire Avengers, and 2 of my plasma guns overheated, and the demo charge landed on my team, and I think I killed 4 of my guys and 2 of yours.
Yep.
That was a good day.
That's victory right there.
But that's a chance you take with demo charges. But veteran squads are better because you can... Yeah. Veteran squads, you can have the increased armor, or you can have better stealth, or you can have both, I think. Actually, I don't think you can. But you get better weapon options for a better price, and they're a troop choice, unlike Stormtroopers. Like, Stormtroopers, they're cool because you can get... They have...
You can kill Space Marines,
they have
potentially.
Not even... They have nice special rules, like, okay, you can choose at the beginning of the game to re-roll your infiltrate, or you can, get pinning on your first shot kind of stuff. Which is snazzy, but James is right. The veterans are the better buy every time.
Oh, and when you think about this, okay? The veterans can have 3, let's say, melted games to keep it safe for them, so they don't die, right? And then you have it's a 10-man squad, and you have a 10-man squad of Stormtroopers with the AP3 guns. It's only strength 3, so when you start doing the math hammer...
Yep.
The
math First you gotta roll the hit. You gotta roll to wound a Space Marine. And,
Yeah.
And then you kill off 2 Space Marines, and the Space Marines go, since you're so close, we charge you. And then you go, oh no.
Pretty much.
That's what happened.
Basically.
So, I mean, I think the Stormtroopers need to bring sexy back. Like,
they do.
Just bring some sexy back in terms of making the Stormtroopers worth taking again.
I think giving them that harder thing, like giving them a better ballistic skill would be cool. That way they can actually
at the very least,
hit
it'll be
things.
a cool the kit bench.
Yeah.
I think they do get a better ballistic skill as a Stormtrooper.
I don't know if they do. I don't have my codex with me, so I can't say.
They did, but the models are a little old.
Yeah. They are. I do like the way the armor looks, but their poses are static.
Oh, for the old Corsican models?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a cool design, but they're static,
armor-wise, it looks good.
Why can't we have plastics already? Why don't I have plastic Stormtroopers? I'm angry.
Why don't we have plastic a lot of things?
Yeah. But for my Stormtroopers and my Guard army, I used Elysians from Forge World, and I gave them their gas mask helmets and their grab chutes, so they're completely teched up and they look awesome.
That's what a lot of people do. They go Forge World.
Yeah, because it looks better for Stormtroopers.
You could even go just with like a bunch of Death Guard, like any of the Imperial Guard models that Forge World makes would make great veterans or Stormtroopers because they look so different.
Well, their veteran upgrades are fantastic. I didn't use their veteran upgrades on my veterans, but I did use some of their upgrades for my veterans. But their veteran upgrades are really cool. They have nice shotguns, and they got goggles on the helmets, and I think I just lost my connection.
Nope.
Oh, James lost his connection.
Just lost it to James.
Okay, someone went bloop bloop. But yeah, no, if you're playing Guard, you might as well throw in some Forge World bits if you can afford it.
Yeah.
What is that sound?
Which, rumor has it that, this is all again just rumors, that in March, GW will be launching a new website which will have a Forge World page.
Yay?
Yep, hold up. Okay. But yes, so that's the latest rumors, that you'll be able to go to GW's website and order Forge World models.
That'd be nice.
It would be really cool. I am not holding my breath, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter too much. I mean, I get it. They should do that because it will help them in the long run, because why separate your whole store into 2 different websites?
It's not also that, it'll also help out with people who want to basically benefit from the free shipping offer that GW offers, and it would take hopefully less time for the Forge World models to get to you if Forge World is sending them supply. For all we know, it could just be GW going click and then ordering it from Forge World themselves.
Yeah, which is frankly fine.
Which is fine, but then you'd have to still deal, like, you know, if they're doing it that way, that's kind of a letdown, because then it's like, so what's the point of ordering from GW if I'm still going to have to wait 2 weeks, the same amount of time I would wait if I ordered it from Forge World? The only real benefit would be your credit card company may not cancel your credit card purchase because you're buying stuff overseas.
Mm.
But it would be nice, but we'll have to see how it really works out. We'll have to see, like, we'll have to test it to see if it works out well.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
Yeah, Skype just said your call's done. I'm like, no, it's not. Come back.
Yes.
It just said, would you like to rate your call? Like, but it's not done yet, Skype. What are you doing?
Well, according to this, Skype said that there was a problem with the phone call, but the phone call is still working for us.
Skype needs to wake up. But
what do you expect? It's too busy satisfying the video calls of Xbox One players while they're playing their Call of Duties.
Well, you need that. But anyway, where were we?
We were just talking about the rumor of Forge World being on the GW website, i.e. you could go to the GW website to purchase Forge World models.
Makes it easier.
And how we were thinking it could go with either one of 2 ways. It could either be great because you'll get a lot of free shipping because of the $50 rule on GW's website and you get your items faster, but it could easily be an issue where if Forge World's not providing the models straight to the GW warehouse, GW may just be ordering the models for you, and thus, what's the point if you're waiting the same amount of time?
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about it.
I'm not worrying about it because it's not happening yet.
If it does happen, it just becomes a convenience thing, you know.
What I'd probably do, and this is just for me, I'd probably, just to test it, I would order one thing from GW's website and then order one thing from Forge World's site and see if there's a major difference.
I mean,
just to test it.
The biggest thing really would be convenience, and to be honest, the user interface for having your account on Games Workshop versus the user interface for the Forge World account is a big difference. The UW one's a lot cleaner and smoother to buy your products from than Forge World's one.
That I'd have to disagree with.
I wouldn't, because it's true. Forge World has such an issue. They've gotten a lot better from their old site, though.
I don't see what issues you ever. Every time I've done something from GW, it's always been a pain in the butt. But when I do something from Forge World, it's always gone smoothly.
I don't know what crack you're smoking. All I gotta do is sign in, click add to cart, and then click check out. Sometimes Forge World, I don't know why, but I guess because it's .co.uk, there's something where it just, for example, the mailing list. I signed up for the mailing list for Forge World and the mailing list for GW. The mailing list for Forge World, I never get. I get the mailing list for GW. I don't even get it sent to junk mail. I don't get the Forge World one, but I signed up with my other email address just to check it out, and I get that one haphazardly. So, but GW I get with a consistent thing. It's just GW has a bit of a cleaner way of things interacting.
Which is funny that you say that, because I've never had an issue with the mailing list with Forge World's website.
And then, and just on top of that, Forge World's website has gotten better. I mean, if you remember the old website, it's kind of like, what do I do? This one, the new website is a lot smoother, but it's just like, I just feel with with the three websites, Black Library, Forge World, and GW, being that GW has everything already there, it makes it a smoother process overall. Instead of having 2 to 3 websites open, you got the one.
It would make things a lot easier. But
I think GW's account information makes it. I like that one done. I like the style that they do it better personally. And customer service is a 1-800 number, not a weird, country code number.
Yeah, it is annoying to get. That's the only thing with that, is it is annoying to get a person with Forge World, because you have to follow London time, which is like 6 hours ahead of us.
Yeah, I mean, but
that's the only thing is like, my only concern if they do this is how integrated Forge World's going to be on it. Like, if it's going to be like, okay, there's going to be a dude in the GW, when you call up GW, you go, hey, where's my order? They can go, let me send you to the Forge World department, and there's a dude with his own little warehouse. Or is it let me transfer you to the London branch, like, is it going to be one of those things where it's legitimately, when you call up GW or something, it's GW handling it, or is it you're asking GW to handle it for you for the other company?
Well, if it's going to be on the website, if you call them for information, they're going to have information for you. They'll probably have a much better...
Depends. It depends, because I've done a lot of times where I'm like, hey, what's this? And they go, I don't know.
No, but I mean, if it's on their website, they're not gonna give you the 3-ring circus, go around in circles approach. If it's on the website, they're gonna be able to track it and see what's going on for you through them. That's the way. No company is gonna put a product on their website that's this big of a company and go, let me transfer you to the second company. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I mean, they'll have everything for you there. It really just becomes a convenience thing. And the fact that you don't have to worry about the London time, and the fact that it's a 1-800 number.
Well, I'm just saying, because I've had experiences through GW where I've done that, hey, I've got a question about this, and they go, I don't know. They don't know what tells me nothing here. And it's like, so then what's the point of me calling you if you can't answer my question?
That sounds like a lazy employee who didn't want to do anything for you. I mean, I've gotten that from everywhere.
No, and was that question based on shipping, or that, what was your question on topic?
The question was in regards to, when model stocking. I was like, hey, this model's no longer, I noticed this model's not available. Will it become available? And he goes, I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, no, they can't tell you that, because that they can't tell you that, because
that's different.
If you're calling about a shipping thing, like, hey, I ordered this, when am I going to get it? They can answer that, but the model availability they can't answer, because GW is very particular about what they do have and they don't have. They don't tell you they stopped stocking it until they make an official announcement,
which
gets to be on the website.
Doors just to
So your question and what your business on is invalid because that's the kind of question that you call customer support about anyways, and they're very clear about that.
I would have to disagree.
Customer support for where's my order or hey, I'm missing a part. It's not for will it be stocked again.
Yeah, they cannot answer that.
Removal of stock is to make way for a new codex coming out for them, and that's something that they can't tell you before it's public.
Well, obviously they can't tell me no different thing. They can at least say at this current time it is not coming back. You know, they can say something like that. They don't have to. They can outright lie instead of just going, I don't know. No one tells me nothing.
No, they can't outright lie. If they lie to you, then they're breaching contract with their employer. And if you complain about that after recorded, they get fired for that.
Also, to be with that, they remove and bring things back. It's like somebody throws a dart at a dartboard and goes, okay, the old Imperial Guard stormtroopers are back. Oh, okay, we're going to take off. You know, we're going to remove this old model. Like, I see models come and go with reckless abandon these days.
Yeah, and again, they take one off for like 2 weeks, and then you could call, and like they don't tell them that we took it off for 2 weeks to retool the mold or anything like that. That's not something they're going to tell customer service, because again, that's not their job to be able to answer those questions.
But they can tell customer service to say, if someone asks, say it should be back in a month.
No,
you know.
You can't have them tell them that, because then if they're not going to be bringing it back because they're replacing it with something, they can't give them that information. So give them information some of the times, but not all the time. Eventually makes it so they have all the information all the time based on the lack of information.
It's the conundrum of giant company, where Forge World, they can literally turn around their seat and go, oh look, there's a model. They can't do that in GW. But it's also like, for example, the old Space Marine Captain model is up to buy again. And you know, that's been gone. The old armor variants that they put up again in Power. Hell, the old Space Marine Tech Marine with Power Axe and Power Armor, he was gone for a bit. Then he was a direct order exclusive. Now he's just a model again. Like, I don't know what they're doing, and I don't think they do either, which is half the time when they take models down, like I said, it's a dartboard approach. It's like, oh, you know what we'll do today? We'll remove the old Orc War Boss. Oh, we'll put him back again. Like, it's weird.
But that's, like I said, that's my only concern with Forge World going on GW's website is how much of a convenience is it going to be, or is it just going to be, you know, a pointless, instead of going to 2 websites, I can go to 1.
Yeah, going to one
and I'm still technically going to 2. But I still don't call it convenience. Like, again, I don't call it a convenience if I'm going through GW, but I'm still having to wait for the model to come for me from London.
You're probably going to have to be honest. Well, not London. If they they do have a North American distribution center for when, like, for example, when the Games Workshop stores they get Forge World things, they got their own distribution thing for this country. I don't know if the servers all Forge stuff for the most of it.
Yeah. Well, what that is they can, what they do is they order you go to a battle bunker, go, hey, I want a Warhound Titan. They go to the GW's equivalent to their customer account for Forge World and order a Warhound Titan for you. Here we go. So that's my question is if GW puts Forge World on their website, is that what we going to get? Just GW ordering the model for you and sending it to your house instead of sending it to them?
Yeah,
or is it Forge World's going to go, hey, here's, you know, a box of Forge World stuff, and they go, oh, let's open the box, oh, here's the model, send it out.
I don't know, I mean, sometimes Forge World stuff is made to order, so it depends. There's probably going to be them ordering it for you, which is not really an inconvenience. It's just, okay, now you're just getting it the same amount of time, but, hey, you know, you can order it here. And you know, that remains to be seen, but...
If it actually is true.
If it is true at all, but the customer service thing for Games Workshop and Forge World are both good. I've had issues
Forge
with both.
World I find is good. I've never had an issue with them.
I never had issues with when I had the correct complaint to call up customer service for, because they state on their website it's for problems with your order, damaged components, things of that nature.
Yeah.
When you call with that, GW is pretty good with that. GW sent, I remember talking to somebody back in when I did go to the Grim gaming store, where they got basically, they were missing a component out of a kit, and they got a whole nother kit for free. from Games Workshop with it. And Forge Roll's been great. I was missing a component for a Titan. They went, all right, just give me your order number. And said it was missing.
No, like, when they have an issue with an order, I'm not saying they're horrible customer service. I don't know where you guys twisted that from. I was just
you were saying that you have issues talking with them because they don't answer your questions. So technically, you did say that, that's what you are saying in this entire conversation, Biz. We understand that your issue with the customer service is you're like, oh, Muff, they messed this up. But the thing is, what we're saying is that GW always answers the order type questions, which are what you're supposed to be calling about, efficiently, as does Forge World. So whatever your issue is wouldn't be an issue.
But basically the whole kit and caboodle is both companies basically one company because they're just one company.
They are one company.
We'll just give you stuff if you're honest about losing it. Now don't go saying you lost stuff. But,
that's always been the thing that they're great at. No. I've never said that they were horrible at that.
But my point being is that it's just both companies do it really well. I don't know about Black Library. I never had an issue with a Black Library thing, but it's not like, hey, pages are missing from my book.
Black Library, in the one area that I had an issue with a product, they were very helpful with that.
Well, were you missing pages in your book?
No. It was an issue with getting the book to work on my on a device, and I was like, hey, how do I get this book to work with my thing? And they literally just went, they went as far as going to Amazon and copying, pasting the how to put Amazon books on your Kindle app type of thing. So they went above and beyond helping with trying to figure that stuff out.
Good.
So they're good with that.
That's good because that whole thing with the whole ebook stuff does arise certain issues that some companies go, you're going to have to figure it out. So it's nice that they went here, this is what you do. I am curious now, though, Fearless Gamer, has anybody bought a novel and it was missing pages? Like you ordered it from a company, not on like a bookstore.
Now, are you asking digital or physical copy?
Physical copy. I mean, digital, I can see something got corrupted in the file. It can happen. That's like you can buy a Blu-ray or a DVD and it doesn't work, except for it gets a loading screen and it won't play after that. I could see that, but I mean like a physical copy of a book where like pages are just straight up, not ripped out, just missing. Because I'm curious, that has to have happened at some point in the history of books. So I want to know if it still happens and if anybody's gotten one. Because I imagine that's like a rare coin.
Yeah, I never recalled a page ever missing from any books that I've ever purchased.
Me either. I know I have recalled on one of my books, it's like the way they clipped the paper was not off where it's missing anything, but it showed the top where it has like the color code and like the testing print that they do before the page. So like it showed like a black, a red, and a blue square, and like white.
I've got a bunch of books where it has that little extra piece of the paper thing on the sides. Like I think that happened in my I think it happened in my Eldar Codex.
Yeah, but I never missed a page, or I never had a cut bed where I couldn't read anything. I never had to even be close to be text or anything like that. But
we've all had those issues with White Wolf books before.
Well, White Wolf books,
the table of context doesn't send you to the actual page.
That's only happened in every one of their books.
White Wolf. Now that's a company that if you're like, you know what, I don't want a table of contents or anything else to tell me where to go. I want to find it out on my own. You read a White Wolf book.
I'm sure they've gotten better. I don't know. When's the last time any of us have bought one of their books?
I don't know. But
the last time I bought one was when Changeling came out.
Yeah. But
that was a while ago. But for anyone who's never played, like there was one time I believe it was James and Matt were in a game that I was running, a White Wolf game, and they were both playing mages. And they were like, they spent like almost 45 minutes trying to find something that their characters had. And they're like, the table of contents sends us to this page, but it's nowhere here. And then they found it like 20 pages after where the table of contents told them to go.
It wasn't even in the same chapter or section. It was like in a completely different area.
And it wasn't that they didn't just go to the table of contents. They went to the index and looked up the actual word of what they were looking for.
And I think the table of contents and the index had two different areas of the book. So it was bad.
Because you're like, it's in magical items. Table of contents says magical items is in chapter 12, which is on page 20. But the index says it's on page 33 in chapter 4, and it ended up being in chapter 5.
Yeah, so, I mean, close enough, right?
And then there's the famous page XX incident that they always have.
Yeah. It's interesting to see what, like, quirks they have in terms of, like, different companies have different quirks with their books. With GW, it's like, did you guys even edit this? And then with, like,
yeah,
with White Wolf, it's like, did you forget the page numbers again?
And with Forge World, it's how long until this book is irrelevant.
Yeah, and also with Forge World, it's like, who wants to take bets on how long it'll take for the next Imperial Armor or the next Horus Heresy book to come out? You know, Forge World with their books is like Blizzard is with games. It takes a while.
It takes a while, but what is most frustrating about it is you're like, well, this book came out, but I take a risk if after I buy it they announce the next book, which has the updated rules for the book I just bought.
Yeah, it is a bit weird that way.
You know, like, for example, is like the Doom of Mymeria. Like, I sat there and I was like, wow, all these items are in all these different books. But they're probably going to do a collection one day, and sure enough, they did a collection with new rules that the old books didn't have.
Yeah, I mean, that's like Black Library's ebooks for, like, the Warlords. Like, you can buy them individually, but if you just wait for them to finish every special character, you'll get a whole, like...
A collection, like the Dark Angels collection and all that.
And the Chaos one. And those are the only two I know of thus far. But, you know, things like that. But speaking of books, and speaking of... you know, ebooks and all that magic and mysticism and all that crazy stuff. Let's talk about the warp real quick.
Okay.
My issue with 40K is the fact that I feel the warp is like, oh yeah, by the way, I can kill you. Okay, bye. Like, when you look in like the role playing books and you read about the warp, this, like, it's just a lot cooler. And I feel in 40K, like, when I do stuff in 40K and I see it, I don't like the warp and the context that it provides. But when I see it in other situations, I like the idea of this parallel universe with, you know, beings that can only exist in it permanently and they can't really exist outside of it. And, you know, hey, if I messed up with my psychic ability, things can happen because, as you know, with parallel to the warp, basically it kills you or wounds you, which could kill you.
Yes.
But
depending.
Yeah, and then if you don't, or if you're not able to negate it. But when you look at the role-playing books and whatnot, there's a whole multitude of things that can go on. Now, I'm not saying that I would like 40K's tabletop to get that complicated, but I think a table, like a chart for Perils of the Warp, would be better than just take a wound.
Which is ironic that you say that, because the Stark Lord is leaving, so say goodbye, Stark Lord.
Sorry, I have to go places. I'm with James on this, that it should be more... There should be more to it, but it's really hard to make complex, and I do have to go, so I just want to say bye-bye.
Take care.
Peace. How do I hang up? I don't remember.
There we go. I just did it for him.
There you go. But yeah, like a table, like you have like the damage chart.
I was actually about to say that it would be cooler. The best way to do it is to just do, like, if you roll double ones or double sixes, you roll on a chart and that's happening. Sort of like the Warp Storm chart in the Demon book.
Yeah, you know, I feel like just to straight up take a wound, if you don't save it, you take a wound, is almost a bit too harsh because, you know, I just feel like
it doesn't always happen that way.
Yeah, I feel like that should be like, if you roll on the chart and you roll a 6, you take a wound, you know? Like, I think there should be things
also, if we ever read in any of the books, no one ever takes a wound from screwing up in the warp.
No, but they just straight out die sometimes.
Sometimes they straight up die, but that's usually when they straight up die, they're like putting all of their essence into doing something.
Right.
But usually if you're just going, I'm casting in, it's like a demon gets in their head.
Yeah, I think it'd be cool to have a table to go, you know, maybe your power backfires or it goes off but randomly somewhere else, or like just things that modify things a bit here and there. Or
it could be something where or like an example, actually no, never mind. There was one idea I had, but it would only work if more psychic powers were like the Eldar.
Right.
Where they had a blessing and an attack. It could be where, instead of casting the attack on them, you actually casted the blessing on them.
Right, but I mean, I think there should be something because, I think one reason a lot of people don't play, like, psychic characters, like Marines or Space Marines or things like that, is, sure, they don't fit your tactics, per se, but,
Another issue is also now the random psychic powers. No one likes the fact they can't control what they have.
Yeah, I mean, that is kind of a lame thing, but it's just to be expected. It's just part of the course.
It's balancing.
But I think the problem is like, a lot of people go, I don't, if I fail, I don't want to just straight up die, basically, because, unless you have rolls to negate a perils, which not many things do, you're relying on the luck of a roll. And I think if there was more of a chart to it where things could happen, I think it's just bland flavor. I think people may not realize it, but they like the flavor, Just like the vehicle damage chart has, even though it's not, I wouldn't call it a flavorful chart, it's a lot more than just, destroyed or this, it's got like the stun, the weapon, the immobilization.
Yep. Which, surprisingly, there's a huge argument going on between me and one guy on the Facebook page for the Long Island 40K group about the whole damage chart and hull points right now. Because he's like, it totally unbalances. And I'm like, it doesn't. It makes it where the vehicles can be killed and not unstoppable. And he's like, but a land speeder has 2 weapons. If it loses 2, if it suffers weapon destroyed and immobilized, it's a wreck and it's gone. I was like, well, it would be dead anyway because to lose both its weapons, it would need to roll weapon destroyed twice, which means it lost 3 hull points. So either way, it's gone.
Right. I mean, this whole thing with vehicles is that they're meant to be something that's nigh unstoppable, but if you have the right set of tools, you can stop them pretty easily. That's the way vehicles go.
Glancing to death kind of stinks, but again, you need to glance it to death. And the average weapon that can glance it needs a 6.
Right.
For even the weaker tiered vehicles, you still need a 6 to glance them.
Right. I mean, the glancing to death, is kind of lame, but hurting a vehicle is tough. Especially when you're me with a las cannon trying to destroy a rhino. But
in every 6th edition game that I've played, my tanks have been a lot more have just as been as survivable as in 5th edition. The only difference is after the 2nd wound, I have to be cautious and get them to do whatever it is I need them to do.
Yeah, I feel vehicles are more survivable now because of the whole hull point thing.
Because it's not a one-shot, it's dead, unless you pen it and roll a 6, which is very rare.
Right, and
they got rid of the wreck rule. There's no longer, on a 5 it's a wreck, it's only you need a 6 to get rid of it in one shot.
Right, and the thing is, unless you're fighting against me, you're probably not going to do that.
Yeah.
Because let me just face facts here. If I'm fighting against you, my anti-tank weapons won't be able to destroy your weakest tank. And if you're fighting against me, the weapon that has a 1 in 6 chance of doing it will do it every time. That's just the way it works. But that's always been the way, and I hate it. But when I remember back and forth when you just tanks are like Pringles. Once you pop, the fun don't stop because you just pop them constantly. There was no reason to take vehicles in 4th edition because it's like they're just gonna get destroyed by looking at them. And now it's back to how tanks should be.
And then in 5th edition, it was like, well, if you're a tank army, you win because you can blow them up.
Yeah, 5th tried to address the balance, but then if you had the proper combination of weaponry, you could just leaf blow through tanks.
But there's in 5th, every time I had tanks, it was either what's the frickin' point or I am so sorry these tanks are wrecking you.
Yeah, in 5th it was too chaotic. It was either they work too well or they never do anything.
Yep.
6 kind of evened that out.
Yep, I agree. I think I'll admit, I thought tanks were nerfed to the point of pointlessness. But after playing with my Eldar with them, I've come to realize that that's not true at all.
Right. And I just think psychic abilities and the whole perils thing. I wish there were a bit more than just hey or take a wound and whatever.
Yeah, I can agree. I think a chart would be cooler.
Yeah, I mean it just doesn't feel very.
It doesn't feel like what they write it up to be.
Yeah. Oh, and since we were talking about Forge World, you want, you've seen the Typhon model?
Yes, that thing is pretty looking.
He's very cool. In fact, if I played
I would
Guard,
pick him up.
I would use him regardless of,
Yeah, I would pick him up for just because he's nurgly enough to be the Chaos version of him. I think he's a lot cooler model than his regular one.
Totally. He definitely is. Now, I'm guessing that center part he's standing on comes out of his massive base. Because he's got a massive base.
Because most of the character series come with a display stand like the Primarchs.
Yeah, but I mean, this is like massive base.
No.
Like I don't even know there's no other way to put it than just a massive base.
He's fairly tall when he's sitting on his main base.
Yeah, because he's sitting on 4 inches of resin. I mean,
yeah,
like he's gigantic. But you know what's interesting? Looking at the other new stuff, I think I have an understanding of what might be in the next Horus Heresy book. I don't know if they talked about it at all, Forge World, but I think I'm going to predict the legions that are going to be in there.
From my understanding, I lost the article, but Fayette did have a dude go there, and they did have like a panel, and they did like go, okay, this is what to expect, and they like showed the name of the book and what was going to be in it.
Well, if their book, I didn't read that at all, and if somebody did and they go, well, this is common knowledge, well then, whoopsie, my bad. But I feel it's going to be Iron Warriors, Alpha Legion, Imperial Fist, and Raven Guard.
Yeah,
because the Raven Guard and the Alpha Legion and the Iron Warriors are still on the Drop Site Massacre, which we have no rules for from 2, and the Imperial Fist were sent to relieve them, and the Imperial Fist encountered a Iron Warriors fleet, and they had a massive space battle. I don't know if that means they're going to try and do something BFG related. That'd be kind of cool. But,
I would love for them to bring that back.
But at the very least, it would mean Imperial Fist inclusion. So you have Imperial Fist, Iron Warriors, Raven Guard, and Alpha Legion. And the Imperial Fist and Iron Warriors have a huge grudge with each other, so they can play on that.
Yeah.
But that's my current guess. And I did a little bit of thinking. That's my current guess, which means there's only one more Traitor Legion to go. That's the Thousand Sons.
Yep.
So if you do that...
Last rumor I heard was that Prospero was going to come out in September.
Gotcha. Well, I hope that's not the case insofar as I hope that they kind of give everybody full closure for the Isfin drop site, meaning that book come out before Prospero.
Well, wasn't Thousand Sons weren't at the Isfin drop site?
No, but I mean like the Iron Warriors, the Imperial Fist, the Raven Guard, and the Alpha Legion.
Yeah.
Especially because 3 of those legions were referenced heavily in Book 2, but they have no rules for them yet. So it would be nice to have just to get those out of the way first, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if they do that, I was thinking about it this way. The Prospero book should be Space Wolf, Thousand Sons, obviously, and then you're going to have to put the Custodian Guard and the Sisters of Silence because they were present there as well.
Which is what Forge World, I believe, announced.
Yeah, which is what they should do. I mean, mostly because I want to make a Custodian Guard army so bad. But
yeah, that's what I heard was that at the last Forge World event that they did, they announced in the Prospero book that's exactly what was going to be in it.
Right, that's the way it should go because nobody else was present for that. And what that leaves is the last book will leave Dark Angels, White Scars, Blood Angels, and who are we forgetting? There's one more. White Scars, Blood Angels,
Ultramarines?
Dark Angels, and Ultramarines. I forget that they didn't have anything yet because they're so gigantic yet. The Horus Heresy is like a gigantic legion. I forget that they don't have rules yet.
And yeah,
but so that'll leave those 4, which is kind of like the 4 oddball children of the Horus Heresy series, which makes sense to put them in their own book.
Yep.
And then I'm curious.
There wasn't much stories for a lot of them. And Blood Angels.
So White Scars, Blood Angels, Dark Angels, and Ultramarines. I was forgetting Ultramarines. They have some story, which means they can flesh out a lot for them in that book. Now, do you think there'll be a book after that for just Siege of Terra?
That is hard to say because they have been talking about how they want to talk about all the major events in the series.
But now, here's my question with that, right?
Mm-hmm.
To my knowledge, the big major events that existed before the Black Library started fleshing out everything was the drop site. Well, the betrayal at Isfin 3, the drop site massacre at Isfin 5, right? which we got. Then there was Prospero Burning.
Yep.
And after that, the Blood Angels got sent to a demon world. That was kind of a big thing, which you can do in their own section of that book. The Dark Angels were sent off, and they were fighting.
The Dark Angels went to attack the supply depot to try and cut Horus off.
Well, that was made up after the fact.
Yeah, but I think they're planning on doing all the stuff that was made up after the fact as well.
Yeah, but my thing is, like, the big ones, the biggest of them were the Istabin, Prospero, and then Siege of Terra. The Blood Angels got sent off to get delayed. The White Scars got sent off to get delayed. The Ultramarine, and the Ultramarine thing was pretty big too. That was really huge when they were attacked by the Word Bearers.
I believe they're gonna, if I read correctly, they will be doing a book about the rebellion on Mars as well.
Right, because that was
because of the rise of the Dark Mechanicum. Like, from the way that they've been reading it, it looks like they're gonna go and any new stuff that becomes part of the canon, they'll do events about. Basically, I think they're going to try and stretch it as far as they can to avoid doing the Siege of Terra this early on.
I get that. It's just, it's cool and it's at the same time unfortunate because that means we're never going to get to the Siege of Terra.
Like, there's talk, like, because they said, we're going to do stuff with the Elder Alien Race books. It's like, so does that mean we're going to get the whole Fulgrim Ascending? Are we going to get a book about Fulgrim Ascending because the Eldar were technically there, in a way, and get a whole Ghost Eldar thing?
Maybe. I mean, that brings a question of the Planet Murder, which was way in the past, but are they going to go back in time, like the Black Library books did and talk about the Planet Murder? Then, are they going to do the Council of Nicaea? Because that wasn't really a battle. Can they even do that? That was just a bunch of talking.
Yeah, no, that they wouldn't do.
And then you have, like, the Mechanicum on Mars Civil War, of which the Imperial Fifths were present for. So,
yeah, because they eventually showed up to help them.
Well, they were stationed on Terra, and they went there to, like, get the supplies, like, basically go, Chaos. Well, they didn't know it was Chaos, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, we're taking this armor back for us. Screw you guys. So,
yeah.
It's interesting to see because at what point does it become impractical a bit? I mean, for example, the ones on Mars, it'd be cool to see a loyalist and traitor army list for Mechanicum. But the big thing there, though, the big thing there were Titan and Knight duels. And as cool as it would be to get rules for a Titan and Knight army, nobody is going to be able to build that.
Yeah. But we may also get on that is Skitarii troopers.
Yeah.
And a bunch of cool Mechanicum, like Magos and all that stuff.
And then my question here is this. We're getting the Primarchs.
Yep.
Now, I can almost guarantee they're going to wait to do Horus. Unless they want to give you a second model. Like Horus Ascended.
They did do a preview at the last event of Horus's model, and it looks pretty.
Right, but
that question is when's it going to show up?
Yeah, but my question for something like Horus, I mean, Fulgrim, Fulgrim eventually became like more serpentine demon, right?
Yep.
But
it would be interesting if they do a model for him with rules.
Yeah, but I mean, he's not really necessary to do like that. But I feel like Horus and the Emperor are the two big guys.
Yep.
Part of my worry is that obviously we're going to get rules for the Emperor. Let's be serious. Now, if we're looking at, I mean, I hope we kind of have to. It's just that's the route it goes.
Because they fought each other.
Yeah. Now, that means he's going to be underpowered a lot in a lot of people's eyes, or he's going to be too ridiculous and too high point cost, right?
Yeah.
Either way, people won't be happy. I'm not worried about that. My question is this. If the Primarch rules are anything to go by, the Emperor's going to have to be above that.
Yep.
Which means Horus Ascended, because Horus basically was like Abaddon is now. He had the favor of all four gods, so you got bonuses from that.
Yep.
If that's the case, we're gonna need another Horus Ascended rule stat line.
Which is probably going to be introduced in the Siege on Terra.
Oh yeah, it'll be with him in that. And I wonder, and that brings the question: we're going to get like stat line from Malkador, even though he just sat on the throne while the Emperor's away. I don't know, because we got a stat line for characters that. Anyway, so will that mean a new model for Horus, or will this Horus model be sufficient that they're releasing now, or whenever they release it? And at that point, Mortarion was demonified. At that point, Fulgrim was demonified. At that point, Angron was just completely crazy, so it doesn't really matter. Angron stayed the way he was, but the two that really got because at that point, Mortarion, I believe, had wings, and he was basically the angel of death and decay. So he was full on demon princified a bit, if you will, and Fulgrim was as well, and even Magnus the Red at that point had demony wings and everything like that. So,
I thought he demon princed after the Horus Heresy.
He got wings at the Horus Heresy. If that counts as demon prince, I don't know. But are they going to do that? Because the whole reason I ask these questions and pose them to the Fearless Gamers as well is that you have to keep in mind this equals more time having to wait, for things, and that equals people whose legion that they enjoy. Because by my approximation, the Ultramarines, White Scars, Dark Angels, and Blood Angels will be one of the last books out before the Siege of Terra, which means you have a long ways to wait. And I'm not saying that because I'm a Dark Angel fan. I mean, I am. But I just feel it's not fair to certain legions. I'd rather see the books come out in a rapid enough time that's not being, pushed forward hastily. But I'd rather see the books come out with enough time so that in the next couple of years, all the legions have base rules. You know what I mean? Because in book 2, they got the previous 4 legions got supplemental stuff. By the way, here's some stuff. Here's some extra units and such. Yeah, extra unit and a special character, which you can do, and I have no problem with that. But they have their core basis as well.
Seriously?
Legion army. So I feel that I'd rather see those come out first for all the legions, because why should the Imperial Fist player or the Blood Angels player have to wait 4 years? But
that is true. We'll have to see. From what it looks like from the last videos I've seen, they have planned to release a lot of books in the coming years.
And also, I want to see Imperial Armor continue. Because it is a separate book. I mean, they established that Horus Heresy and Imperial Armor are separate. But I don't want Imperial Armor to just get pushed to the wayside a bit. I think because those are always kind of cool and exciting.
Yeah, but they have noticed, if I am correct, if I remember correctly, that Prospero is volume 6, volume 7, and that's supposed to be coming out in September.
That's a lot to go.
Yeah, and they said and they're still saying that, and they have said they're taking steps to try and mainstream it a bit. And with the established rules in the first 2 books, we may see them coming out quicker because things have been established already. So this is Primarchs, for example. They're okay, all Primarchs must have at least this rule, this rule, this rule, so that's 3 rules I don't have to think about anymore. Okay, they have to have this kind of stat, so I don't have to think about that stat anymore, type of thing. So we may see them coming out quicker, but still with some time between them.
I see
my wonder is this.
Sucks in your energy.
Aside from books, right? Aside from determining what leaders are what and when they want to push these things forth, I'm wondering is it truly, make a book, then release it, make a book, then release it? Or is it a possibility that they have, a lot of these legions done already rules-wise, Because I imagine if I was sitting down with a developing team to make rules for the Space Marine legions during the Horus Heresy, I wouldn't go, okay, we got to do Death Guard, Emperor's Children, World Leaders, and Sons of Horus. We got those 4 done? All right. Let's put the book out. All right, now let's work on, you know what I mean?
I would feel that more of the construction of these books comes into the details.
Right, but I'm wondering I'm thinking like you are, the details, the fluff, and what Legion, put it in the actual fit and finish of the book. I imagine rules wise, the Primarchs and the Legion specific stuff, because they got
fairly already written out.
Yeah, basically good to go. I imagine
it's just flavoring them up. What would the Lion have over Russ? What would Russ have over Magnus? Type of thing.
I think they may even have. Now I'm spitballing here. I think they may have that already. I think it's more of a, all right, now what story do you want to tell in this book, and how do you want to tell it, and what do we want to convey? Like, okay, what's the fluff we're going to give for this Legion? What is the exemplary battles? What is their origin? Like, how deep do we want to go? How mysterious do we want to keep it? And, because, when you think about it, the rules for playing a Legion, it's out there.
He's getting health every time he does that. Oh. He knows his bar keeps going back up.
I know.
So, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
The Space Marine Legion rules are out there. They were out there in the first book. It's just supplemental stuff to make it feel more like Ultramarines or World Eaters or whatever it may be. So I'm wondering if it's just the finish that has to wait.
Try shooting him when he does it. Yeah.
So, that's that. But anyways.
Says we are pretty much out of time right now.
Yep.
So that is all for now. So let us know what you think. Do you think, about the whole pistols in close combat? The warp, if they should change it slightly, and what's your opinion on the whole Horus Heresy thing and how they're shelling out the stuff as of late? So, thank you all for listening, and also, if you haven't yet, check out our Facebook page. We've got a lot of cool info there. There's some exclusive content and caption contests, like we're having one right now. So, if you haven't, check it out, throw in your 2 cents, and see if your caption wins. And that is all for now. So, until next time, Fearless Gamers, this is Matt the Vet.
This is James the Wildcard.
Saying take care.
Peace.